Hello, Mark Rudd Larsen here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining me. Actually, I am outside on my walkout on a beautiful January day, right before Arctic air is supposed to come in tonight. So, yeah, I got shorts on, no shoes. So, this is a blessing from God for sure. So, today, I'm just going to talk about how easy it is to do stuff, even when we dismiss that we don't think we have the wherewithal, the smarts, the knowledge, the money, whatever it is. I'm going to start out with a podcast. Actually, I'm doing this on my phone. Actually, doing it with these amazing little lavalier microphones that I got. I think I got them at like a Walmart or something like that, and they work amazingly well. Have quite the range. Last a long time on a charge. So, and then I've got it on it's called spin stand to prop up the phone. So it doesn't take much to do something like an episode. And I got my Radiate Positivity T-shirt on, having a little kombucha that I make. Thanks to Caleb for the SCOBY originally that get me started on making kombucha. Another thing, I thought probably kombucha was difficult to make. It's not. Um, it's kind of the SCOBY's kind of disgusting, but it's awesome. It is very awesome, and I try to have some quite often. So, but yeah, to get your dream life, so many people ask me, why, how I did it, why am I doing it, and it took me a long time. I mean, I'm 63. Everybody's like, well, you should be retiring, and no, you shouldn't be. You should only be doing that if you want to. Don't let society tell you what to do. It lets you, think you need to go to school, get a college degree, maybe get a master's, whatever it is. And the reality is, you already know deep down what you need to do, what you want to do, and don't let excuses. The some days that when I get my degree, I'll do whatever it is. When I get enough money coming in, I'll do it as a side hit, side gig. And most likely it's not going to come in because something money, life will happen and money will be going out again. So you just got to make your dream non-negotiable. You know, it's just like I was thinking, it's just like when my wife had all her medical issues. It wasn't an issue whether we were going to pay for it. We had to pay for it to save her life, and it's been a challenge. The challenge that I've said in past episodes is kind of like strength training, because once you overcome those challenges, it's like, okay, I did that. What else is, and I don't ask, but what else can I overcome? And that's with the dream. With the dream, you're going to have obstacles because, like I've said, it builds you into the person to keep the dream. Do the dream, keep the dream. But don't let excuses or fear. Fear gets in here a lot. It's like, what are people going to think? What if I fail? If you fail, you fail forward. You just, what you learned, and you go forward. And yeah, it's not going to be life or death more than likely, depending on what you're doing. But most of the time, it's not. And yeah, it's just the first time I did the podcast, first year I did the podcast was scary, it was, and I didn't wanna look stupid, and, now I it seems like if I look stupid, you guys like it better, and it's real, that's why I always tell everybody I don't really go by a script, I don't ask questions that are predetermined questions, um, it's just and I don't, it depends. Today, I'm casual, it's just myself, Cheryl's working, just out enjoying the day, getting some grounding in, and if you don't know what that is, take your shoes off completely to your bare feet. Go out and be on your yard or whatever it is. Get your feet grounded to the soil. Something that our ancestors did that we very rarely get in this day and age, and so very important. So, but me talking about that kind of thing, but it's just like I talk to people. It's like, well, someday I'll do that. Someday I'll do my dream, and some days don't ever come. Almost, it's a rare individual that does the Sundays, and don't It's like, well, I don't know what to do. Do something. Really, the only way you're going to know how to do something is to do it and figure out what you don't know. And then it's like, okay, I didn't know how to do that. How do I do that? And that's the nice thing about YouTube, the internet, wherever. there's somebody that's already figured it out and is showing probably has a video to show you how to do it. There's lots of people show you how to do podcasts or whatever it is, writing a book or you name it, it's out there. Um, but don't put it off. Like I was telling my wife today, don't wait. Don't make waiting a habit because you can wait till the day you're dead. It's like I don't have enough money to do that. I don't have enough money to go to school. I don't have enough money to buy the equipment to do a podcast. I don't have enough, whatever it is, and you're waiting. Well, waiting just gets you waiting to the end, and then you have not lived your dream, and that is a travesty because the world, like I've said on podcast, is waiting for you and your voice and whatever else you want to do. And don't forget, just don't care about what people think. There's going to be people out there that are going to be judging you, and it gets to the point where it's like you listen and move on, um, unless it's somebody that you kind of respect, then you might take it into account a little bit. But there's so many things out there that people are wanting to do, and how much the world is suffering, and you're suffering because you're not doing it. Dream lives are awesome. I mean, I love my life. I'm out here on a awesome, amazing January day in Nebraska, and if I was doing a job, I'd probably be still at work. Here I am, basically in somewhere, doing a podcast with you guys, and I'm honored that I am doing this. And this is like the 353rd or something like that episode, and yeah, it is just there's always a way to do something, and I always tell Cheryl, it's like, if you had an emergency, you wouldn't care, you wouldn't be concerned as much about how the money's gonna show up or what it is, and you just do it, and you have the discipline to do it. It's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go on this trip. I'm gonna book this trip," and that's one thing, the universe likes that because it shows that you're determined. You're right there with it. You're gonna do it, and the universe has a way of bringing resources, people, into your arena to help you with that. I have found that so many times. It's like I would be stewing about it at night. It's like, how am I going to do whatever it is? I pay this big bill. And that has been over the years something that I've stewed over because of all the medical bills. And right now I don't have health insurance. And I don't know what's gonna go on with this, but I knew I couldn't even come close to affording an Affordable Care Act. And I think that probably isn't gonna be around anymore, and even with regular insurance, it is still so prohibitive with such big deductibles. And then insurance, this joke of insurance telling the doctors what they're going to cover and not cover. Insurance doesn't ever get that right. Insurance, you buy insurance, they cover up to a certain amount, and you buy it. There's a terms when you get your policy. They don't get to dictate what is covered and what's not covered. And so I'm doing it with cash. They have to tell you up front with something in the hospital doctor. They have to tell you what the cash price is going to be. A lot of times, it's a very much a fraction of the regular cost. I hope I don't have to find out. I pray I don't have to find out. Um, but it's just like I got to do it. I can't in good tolerant good. What's the word I'm looking for? Just thinking that it's like I have insurance and I really don't. Because when I need it, they may not cover it anyway, and I've put all this money out, um, for these policies and thinking I have insurance. That's even worse than if not having insurance. 'Cause at least I know I don't have it. When you think you have it, a policy, and you get surprised, then you don't. Yeah, it's not a good place. So, but getting back, don't wait. Do a podcast. I talked to a lady yesterday, and she was thinking about having her sisters. They were all thinking about doing a podcast. And anybody who's watched and listened to this podcast knows I think everybody should, because almost everybody has a phone. Do one. There's so many resources out there that are free or, I mean, very, very low price entry point to get into doing a podcast. And I mean, you got Buzzsprout and your Riverside, and Riverside's what I use. This will be uploaded to Riverside. And then I put the intro and outro, which I had done at Fiverr, which is an awesome resource for very little money. And then it goes up to Buzzsprout. And Buzzsprout isn't bad either for price. And I get these episodes done very reasonable. And that's really not, they weren't doing the job, I would look for something that was maybe, doing more money, cost more money. But they're doing it. They're doing a great job. I like all those resources very much. And Audacity, which is free, amazes me what you get for something that's free. But I'm sure that you would find whatever you want to do. There's somebody doing it already, probably maybe thousands, millions of people doing it already, that would show you the way. That's one thing with the podcasting. People like to collaborate. People definitely like to help each other. I love that. Never. I don't believe competition should be even in our vocabulary anymore. We're supposed to be an advanced society. I mean, maybe a board game or a card game or something like that. But otherwise, I'm for collaborations always. Um, Not competition, collaborations. So, but just I know I go on these podcasts a lot. It's just my heart, and I just want to see people. I want to see people live their best life, and I see so many people that can't afford food. I can't afford their apartment, and then these governments, just like I don't know where it was at today, they were providing people that were unemployed with apartments, and I can see their thinking. But why wouldn't more people? It's like, okay, I'm going to become unemployed so I get an apartment. It's, thinking that's flawed, because there's gonna be people out there that can't afford their rent, so it's like, "Well, I'll stop working, and, then I'll get my apartment." I mean, at least people are trying to do something, and I commend them for that. But, yeah, there's a lot of things out there that are, needing ad needing adjusting, um, and that's that's why I do these podcasts, and, I also would like, considering dream catching, what are some podcast topics, considering, with the topic of dream catching, would you like to see me do? I'm always open. These podcasts are done for you. And if there's something that you're hung up on, don't know what to do, I'll do an episode on. I will definitely be honored to do an episode um, on something that's dealing with podcasting. I mean, all these, and I start my fifth year next month, so I've had the ins and outs, and I know a lot. Still learning, like anything, and it changes, like just like everything anymore. But yeah, it's just I just want everybody to live their dream life. I want everybody. I want everybody homeless. There's actually a gal in a neighboring town, and she says traveling and broke, and it's like I don't know what you do with that. I mean, I could give her money, but that's not gonna. If she's broke and she's traveling, how's she buying food? I it's been on my mind a lot, and I feel for her greatly, especially when it's going to get down to below zero here with the wind blowing. Um, I hope she finds refuge, and I know there are places in that town. I hope that we'll put her up for at least while the weather is so winter-like. But we all can do something, you know. We always say we're going to leave it to somebody else to do it. We don't have time. We're too busy. We get the kids. You got to get to the ball game. There's always excuses, and that's also goes back to you doing your goals and your dreams. There can be always excuses, always excuses to not do your dreams because life does happen. It has happened to Cheryl and I a lot, especially with medical stuff. Um, but we're still going. I'm still doing these podcasts. It becomes a non-negotiable, and I didn't know what I was going to do. From this is going to drop on Monday, um, and this is when you'll see it or potentially see it. Uh, but you just got to do it. And God is great at giving me ideas. And and Cheryl kind of gave me the idea this morning when we were discussing on the way to Hastings. Um, she wants all this art stuff and she'd like to do, and she's always like, "Well, don't have the money for that." Well, you had the money to pay for the medical bills. You just make it to that same seriousness because this is your dreams. This is your dreams. Don't take it lightly. God gave you that dream for a reason. He's wanting you to do that in this lifetime. He wants you to do it. He wouldn't have given you the dream if he didn't. And there will be a way. There will be a way. I have no idea. My journey has been interesting. Some of the things I didn't figure out how they were gonna be a solution to, but they have been, and makes me smile because I always say it's God. God did that, and because I would have never thought that was the way it was going to work out. But it's comforting. I told the lady yesterday, um, God's got me, and it's very comforting to know that I surrender to Him, and things things go great. Um, and maybe not right away. There's always there's always a path that you go, so He gets you to learn the lesson that He's trying to teach you and make you stronger so you can do the next thing that comes your way, which will happen. It happens to all of us. And don't dismiss anybody because everybody's going through something. That's another reason why I do this podcast because everybody's got a backstory and everybody's going through something, and be kind. That lady I just was talking about that's on the street. I don't know what her backstory is, but I bet it's an amazing one. And yeah, I feel for her. And as you probably can tell, I can't even imagine being on the street with just my suitcases and um, and sitting there with them, and not much of a coat either. Um, no, I thought maybe I could give her a meal, and I could give her a meal, and that's also good for that meal, but it's not a long term solution. And that's one thing when we give these people that are hungry a meal, it's excellent, but we need to work on solutions so this person is not hungry anymore. Um, Train them, if they're got mental illness, have them go to see somebody. Um, there's so many rules or not rules, so many reasons that people are where they are, and a lot of it is because people don't think they're worth doing their dream. It's like, well, they got the wrong dream to me, and there's no way I possibly could do that. And maybe when I was in school and I was so quiet, I would never would have guessed I could do what I'm doing now. But yeah, it's amazing what you can do when you put an effort, forward every day. Pretty much, you have to live like the person that it has your dream already. And sometimes it's hard to know, but, like, if you wanted to p a person that looks wealthy, the first thing you wanna do is start, keeping your haircut and your skin, clean. Just clean. Sometimes easier said than done if you don't have a lot of money, but there are ways, that you can look better, and, perception by other people is very important. Um, I know that from firsthand experience. People give me more credit than, I've earned. um, they think I'm way a lot further down this process of what I'm doing than I am. And I'm not dismissing myself because I will be there. Um, but it is their perception of me that isn't very important that they're all coming over and talking to me. And that's what we need. You know, that's what you need to do. Go and put nicer clothes on. If you don't have nicer clothes, go to Goodwill, Salvation Army. There's there's ways to get clothes that are not too bad. And and you never know what the person you might meet at those places might be somebody that's crossing your path, thanks to God, that can help you on your dream. And so I think I've been going on long enough on this. Just know, I mean, go out and just go out and do your dream. Get it started. Take a class. There's the community colleges. There's a lot of really low priced education on to learn a lot of things. Um, I just stop putting things off. Stop waiting. God doesn't want you to wait. He wants you to put what your intentions are out to the universe and then take action. So, so on that, I'm gonna have some more kombucha and continue to enjoy this beautiful day, which is a gift from God. And I hope everybody takes action, stops waiting, and goes after that dream.